You could once eat a full hot meal from a vending machine, ride a train above 3rd Avenue, and buy rare books for $1 just steps from Times Square. But that New York? It's gone. In this video, we'll uncover 12 things you'll never see in the city again. Lost places, vanished habits, and moments that define the soul of old New York. Some faded away quietly, others were torn down overnight, and one might still be hiding in plain sight. Let's take a walk through the New York that's no longer here, but never truly left. 1. The original Pennsylvania Station. Once considered one of the most breathtaking train stations in America, the original Penn Station stood as a towering example of Beaux-Arts grandeur. Its marble columns and soaring glass ceilings gave travelers a cathedral-like welcome into the city. But in 1963, it was demolished in the name of progress. What replaced it was cold, lifeless infrastructure. The outcry sparked New York's preservation movement, but by then, the damage was done. A masterpiece was lost. 2. The Automat. Imagine sliding a nickel into a glass case and pulling out a hot slice of pie or a fresh sandwich. No cashier, no wait. That was the magic of the Automat, especially the horn and hard art locations that dotted mid-century New York. They were fast, futuristic, and accessible to everyone. But by the 1980s, they were nearly extinct, swept away by fast food chains and changing tastes. All that's left now is the memory of what felt like the city's most democratic dining experience. 3. Freedomland USA. In the early 1960s, the Bronx briefly became home to Freedomland USA, a theme park built to tell the story of American history. You could pan for gold, ride a riverboat, or witness a reenacted Great Chicago Fire. But poor planning, financial struggles, and the rise of Co-op City brought it down. It closed just 4 years after it opened. Today, hardly anyone remembers it. But for a brief moment, New York had its own Disneyland, the 3rd Avenue Elevated Train. Before the subways took over, the 3rd Avenue L roared above Manhattan's East Side. A rattling steel serpent stretching from the Bowery to the Bronx, it carried the rhythm of daily life for decades. But by the 1960s, the city began tearing it down, one section at a time, chasing modernization and clearer skies. The skyline changed, the noise vanished. But for older New Yorkers, the echo of those trains still lives on. 5. The Electric Circus. Step into the Electric Circus, and you stepped into another world. Located on St. Mark's Place, this nightclub was a psychedelic explosion of lights, music, and mind-bending visuals. From the late 1960s until 1971, it was the beating heart of counterculture. Acts like the Velvet Underground played here. It was wild, chaotic, and unforgettable. And like all things ahead of their time, it didn't last. But its legacy shaped the city's underground for decades to come. 6. The newspaper strike of 1962 to 63. For 114 days, New York, a city powered by headlines, fell strangely silent. A massive newspaper strike shut down every major publication. The Times, the Post, the Daily News. Kiosks stood empty. Newsboys had nothing to sell. The city lost its voice. And when the presses finally rolled again, nothing in journalism was quite the same. 7. The Borched Belt. From the 1930s through the 60s, New Yorkers flocked to the Catskills, an area nicknamed the Borched Belt. It was a playground of sprawling resorts, talent shows, and early stand-up comedians. Think early Jerry Seinfeld vibes. But air travel got cheaper, and people wanted more exotic vacations. By the 1980s, most resorts were abandoned. Today, only ruins remain. Ghosts of a golden era of vacationing that shaped generations. 8. The Meatpacking District. Once a gritty industrial zone filled with slaughterhouses and grease-covered streets, the Meatpacking District was home to over 200 meat businesses. The stench was strong, and glamour was nowhere to be found. But in the 1990s, transformation hit hard. The hooks, bricks, and loading docks remain. But now they're backdrops to designer boutiques, art galleries, and rooftop bars. The bones are the same. The soul? That's up for debate. 9. The original Soho. In the 1960s, Soho was full of abandoned factories. Artists moved in illegally, turning the massive lofts into studios and homes. It was raw, rebellious, and entirely unique. But as the art scene flourished, the landlords noticed. By the 1980s, galleries and rent hikes pushed out the very people who made Soho matter. What's left is a polished version of the past. Beautiful, but missing the edge. 10. The original Stonewall Inn. In 1969, police raided the Stonewall Inn, unaware they were about to ignite a movement. The protests that followed became the spark for the modern LGBTQ+ rights movement. But the bar itself didn't last. It shut down soon after and cycled through other lives before being restored. Today's Stonewall honors that history, but the original place is gone. What remains is a legacy louder than ever. 11. The original Prospect Park, Brooklyn's crown jewel, Prospect Park, was once a perfect blend of Victorian charm and wild nature. Designed in the 1860s by the same minds behind Central Park, it featured intricate bridges and rustic shelters. But over the 20th century, neglect and modern renovations erased many of its original features. The park is still stunning, but much of its original soul was quietly rewritten. 12th Times Square's record stores. Before downloads and streaming, Times Square was a paradise for music lovers. From the 50s to the early 80s, it was packed with record shops blaring music onto the street. Wall-to-wall LPs, bootlegs, posters, everything a collector could dream of. But rising rents and digital music killed the culture. Now it's chain stores and LED ads. Louder, maybe, but not the same. New York in the 1960s wasn't perfect, but it had a pulse. You could grab a meal from a vending machine, ride an elevated train, and lose yourself in a record shop. The city was gritty, chaotic, beautiful, and alive in a way that's hard to find today. Many of those places are gone now. But memories? They still live in old photos, family stories, and maybe even in you. So tell us, would you have liked to live in that New York? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this video brought back a memory or made you feel something, leave a like, share it, and subscribe to The American Rewind. Because some things are worth remembering.